Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel, and today we are going to solve a Leetcode JavaScript problem whose name is add two promises. And the statement is saying that given two promises, promise 1 and promise 2, and we have to return a new promise, and promise 1 and promise 2 will both resolve with a number, and the return promise which we are going to return from this add two promises function should resolve with the sum of two numbers. So let's have an eye on example. So the input is two promises, promise 1 which is resolving with value 2 after 20 milliseconds, and promise 2 which is also resolving with value 5 after 60 milliseconds. So we have to return a new promise which will resolve with the sum of these two resolve value of promise 1 and promise 2. And this is the example which is saying that the two promises resolve with the value of 2 and 5, and the return promise should resolve with the sum of these two values, which is 7 in this case. And the time the return promise resolve is not just for this problem. So we don't need to bother about in how much time the return promise should be resolved. So let's start the implementation part. So yeah. So as it is asking, we have to return a new promise. So return new promise, and inside this we will pass a callback function with two arguments, resolve and reject, and this is an arrow function. So yeah, we will return this new promise, and inside this new promise, after these two promises are resolved, we have to return the sum of the resolved value of this promise 1 and promise 2. So let's start with simple one. So first, promise 1 dot then, and inside this we are passing callback function and argument as val1, and if promise 1 is resolved, then we will resolve promise 2, and inside then let's call it val2, and this will return, this will resolve with these two values, val1 plus val2. So yeah, this is the simple implementation of this problem. So let's run this. Yeah, this is working fine. So let's move one step next. So what will you do? Let's comment out this. Yeah, and inside this we will make this function async, because we will use await keyword, and await keyword can be used within async function. Okay, so let's create some and await promise dot all. And basically what promise dot all is a method which will take an iterables of promises, and it will run all the promises, and if anyone fails, it will not return resolve. And let's pass it an iterables of promises inside this promise 1 and promise 2. And if all these promises are resolved, we will get an array of these resolved values, which will be here 2 and 5, just for understanding. So sum is basically an array of resolved values of promise 1 and promise 2, and this will only be stored in sum if all these two promises will be resolved. If anyone fails, we will not get this. So next, we can resolve this our new promise with the value of the sum of these two. So let's sum 0 plus sum 1. Okay. So let's also run this. This should also work. Yeah, this is also working. And let's move one step ahead. And what if this is just hard coding, because we know we have only 2 promises. But what if we have more than 2 promises? So we can use something like array.reduce. So let's call answer equals to sum.reduce, applying reduce over this sum array. And we know reduce takes a callback function, and this has 2 arguments, accumulator and current val. And we are not passing any initial value here, so accumulator will store the first element and current value will store the next element, and so on. And it will return the sum of these two, accumulator plus current value. Now our answer has 7 stored. So let's resolve our new promise with value answer. And this should also work fine. So now run this also. Yeah, this is working. I hope you understand this also. In the first approach, we are just using then if promise 1 resolve, then we will run the promise 2, and if promise 2 also resolved, then we will use these two values, val1 and val2, which are the resolved values of promise 1 and promise 2, and sum those and resolve the new promise with this sum. And next we will use promise.on and passing the array of promises, and it will return the array of resolved values. And next applying reduce method over this sum array, and finally resolving our new promise with this answer. So hope you understand this, and if you find this helpful, please consider liking this video, and if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please consider subscribing this channel. It will motivate me to make some more videos. So yeah, that's all for this. See you in next video.